see if I can get to it. See if I'm well. Let's see if I can simultaneously go live. Waiting for camera. Oh, now I'm back. Let's see if I can change the Facebook Live setting. I'm going to end that. End. Well, that did not work. Oh, let's see. It looks like we can see it. Hey. Okay. See if this is actually working. See if this is, oh, yep, I'm gonna mute that. Actually working. Debbie, did you hear the playback on my end? Yeah. Okay. See if this is, oh no. Yep. All right, now I need to see if I can get this to expand so I can see if anybody joins here and comments that I can get to everything. Y'all, I'm learning. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can just click on this and it will stay muted for me. And that maybe I can see. Yes, perfect. I can just click on this. Still needs to be muted. All right. Tamara said, all good, we're learning with you. Tamara, if you can hear me, can you comment again? Let's see. Y'all, technology is hard sometimes. Okay, great. All right. Well, let's begin. So I am going to share my screen real quick. And we are going to go here. So Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to be toggling back and forth between Whereby and Facebook. So if you comment something in Facebook and I don't comment back right away, I will scroll through the comments as we go. But I just wanted to let you know that that's what was going on. Okay, so again, welcome. Um, if you are popping in either now or on a replay, feel free to introduce yourself or comment hashtag replay. That we are here to be a community of learners today. So, welcome, welcome. And by the way, it is World Alzheimer's Day. So I thought that was very appropriate that we started talking about how to prevent and reverse Alzheimer's and cognitive decline on World Alzheimer's Day. So that is what we're going to do today. Um, it's also Alzheimer's month, so you've probably been seeing that I've been a little more active on social media and the sharing of information. So I plan to stay active. So you guys keep popping back for more. I try to basically impart as much knowledge as I can without actually being able to personalize anything for anybody. So, this week, well, for the rest of the week, today, tomorrow, and Friday, we are going to learn all about how to eat to optimize brain health and prevent and reverse Alzheimer's and really cognitive decline in general. So, I will also be doing some giveaways, which will be really fun. So, to get your name in the drawings for that, please, please, please participate. Um, attend the lives if you can, comment as we go, interact with me. I love not feeling like I'm the only one here. And do the homeworks that I'll give you. They're not going to be very long, I assure you. But yeah, just participate, and that'll get you in for some giveaways. So let's dive in. Well, okay, before we really dive in, some of you might know or not know who I am. You might just see my face everywhere. But I am Dr. Lexi Watson. I am the founder and CEO of Oakley Wellness. And Oakley Wellness was born through my journey from pharmacist to Institute for Functional Medicine certified practitioner, that is a mouthful, to brain health specialist and holistic wellness coach. So I currently work in an independent community pharmacy setting, and I love building relationships there. We're a really big family, and it's awesome. Um, but there's something missing because what I realized was that I'm filling medications all day and my patients aren't getting better. I'm in that role, all I'm doing is helping mask and manage their symptoms, but people are still suffering and dying of horrible diseases that rob them of their lifestyles, their relationships, and sometimes even their dignity. And a lot of the times, the most helpless people are the ones struggling with Alzheimer's. So I wanted to offer the optimal wellness knowledge patients were seeking. So I became a certified functional medicine practitioner, and I have loved what I do so far. It's very rewarding and totally worth all of the training that went into it. But I also try to live what I teach. So I changed my high stress lifestyle is still stressful, but I've incorporated a lot of stress mitigation strategies and whatnot. But I've also changed, moved away from eating a lot of fast food, burning the midnight oil, and now I live the lifestyle that I recommend to my clients. So what happened for me when I started doing this was that I realized I had inflammation that I didn't know was there. And so things magically like went away, like some of my back pain that I had, and I'm in my 20s, right? Um, that's not a good sign, right? So that went away. My stomach bloating went away. I actually lost about 5 pounds, and I've been able to keep it off, which was awesome. And best part is I was actually able to successfully come off of my ADHD medicine, and I no longer take it. And I don't need it. And I'm actually, I mean, aside from the previous ADHD that I now completely manage with lifestyle, I'm the only one in my family with no chronic health condition. So that is a big, big deal. And I'm so excited that working from a functional root cause approach can do that. Um, so from all of that, I was really confident that I could be the change that my patients were looking for, with the exception of Alzheimer's. And this really hit home. Some of you may know my grandma, Sandy. I watched her suffer through the slow decline that finally took her life in July. And the whole time I was wondering if I was watching my future, right? I tried not to think about it, honestly, but it terrified me. So, and a lot of you may know that I still consider myself a newlywed. We've been married almost 2 years, but Zach has been in grad school. So we, I'm basically like when I was watching my grandma, I was like, oh my gosh, I have found my soulmate. Like I want to remember growing old with my husband. So, about 2 years ago, I found Dr. Dale Bredesen and his team and the research that they've been doing. And their research has shown that you can not only halt the progression of cognitive decline, but you can reverse it, which is absolutely huge because all of the current medications and research in big pharma that's going on right now, um, it's all been just trying to slow the progression. So we now know we can halt progression, not just slow it, but we can actually reverse what happened. And this is all using tools, tests, and protocols that are an extension of my functional medicine training. So since then, Alzheimer's and dementia have become a passion of mine, and I became a brain health root cause expert. And I'm here to say that Alzheimer's is no longer a death sentence. You have a choice, and I have a choice. So now at Oakley Wellness, I help men and women struggling with declining brain function and the fear of dying from Alzheimer's to take control of their future and reverse cognitive decline through my Oakley method and mentorship program. So, I want to give some background before we dive into how the food ties into everything. What we now know is that Alzheimer's is the process by which the brain protects itself from an insult. And Dr. Bredesen and his team have identified at least 36 different factors that can insult the brain and contribute to cognitive decline. So, I usually try to think about this as like 36 holes in a roof. So fixing one hole if there's 36 holes, just fixing one is not going to make a difference if it's raining. So this is why no one drug has ever worked, because it's only targeting one of those holes. And you have 35 potential other holes that are going on. So of course it's not going to do really much at all. So I do want to say that not everyone has all the holes or even the same combinations of holes. So to have a complete I don't want to say protocol, but plan for yourself for preventing and reversing Alzheimer's, it has to be a very personalized approach. But bottom line, there is something that you can do to prevent or reverse Alzheimer's or cognitive decline. It does not matter what stage you're in, there is always a chance for improvement. But we do see the most success when you start early. So the ideal time to start is now. Bottom line though, Alzheimer's is now optional. And for the rest of this week, we're going to be going in depth with the very first thing that I recommend focusing on to prevent and reverse it because it has the most impact, and that is nutrition. So, what we are going to do today is going over the food in general. Tomorrow we're going to dive into like what that actually looks like putting some meals together, that kind of thing. And then the on Friday we're going to look at pitfalls and workarounds and how to avoid that for yourself. So before Awesome. We're all caught up on comments. Beautiful. Okay. So let's dive in and let me stop sharing and see if no, how do we do that? Pop out. Oh, no, pop in. Y'all, I'm learning. That'll work. Okay. Sounds good. All right. So let's dive into the food. So the brain functions best when it runs on ketones instead of glucose. So ketones are breakdown products of fats and glucose. That's not a thing. Anyway, maybe it is somewhere, but today it is not. Glucose is the breakdown product of sugar or carbohydrates. Well, glucose is a sugar. So, to supply the brain with ketones, you need to be in some level of ketosis. There are different levels. So, even just being in mild ketosis, that is enough to fuel your brain. So, but basically, we are trying to get into ketosis, you need to be able to be breaking down fat to use as energy instead of the sugar. So the food plan that we're going to go over today and for the rest of the week was developed by Dr. Bredesen and his team, and it is called Keto Flex 12-3. And this was developed specifically for brain health, which is awesome. So I want to go over some of the benefits real quick before we dive into exactly what those foods are. So, one, it addresses, I'm going to use some big science words here, so deal with my nerdy self for a second. So, it addresses neuronal fuel reduction and mitochondrial deficiency. And so I get excited when I see that because addressing neuronal fuel reduction means that your brain is not getting the fuel that it needs to work properly. And so we're going to address that. And so basically you are going to be automatically fueling your brain with the energy and the food that it needs to function properly. And then mitochondria are the little parts of cells that actually make your energy. They're where all of those little enzyme reactions happen to pop out your energy molecules. So if you don't have enough energy or mitochondria, or your mitochondria are damaged, that results in mitochondrial deficiency. So this way of eating actually allows you to make more mitochondria and make better mitochondria and make them more efficient. So it also creates critical insulin sensitivity. Your cells need to be able to listen or respond to the signals of insulin because that regulates your blood sugar. And when blood sugar increases, your insulin will increase, and then that increases your inflammation. And inflammation is one of the 36 factors that can contribute to Alzheimer's and cognitive decline. Okay, so also eating this way overall just reduces inflammation. Yay! It also increases circulation, which is really good for heart health and overall cardiovascular health, and it optimizes blood pressure. It provides raw materials for synaptic support, and the synapses are like the little spaces in between different neurons in your brain. So that's where actually all the magic happens. So one end of your synapse will release different like hormones or neurotransmitters or signal molecules that will then do its thing in the synapse and bind to the other neuron to continue the signal or to stop the signal. So there's a lot of different building materials that need to go into the synapse and the ends of the neurons for all of that to work beautifully. So that's part of what this eating plan does. It supplies those raw materials, and it protects against nutrient deficiencies that are associated with cognitive decline. So our bodies are kind of like cakes. When you're baking a cake, you have to have all the ingredients in the exact right amounts for the cake to turn out correctly. Our bodies are the same way. We need all of these different nutrients in certain amounts to be able to run properly. So when nutrients are off, it can affect different things such as cognitive health. So it also promotes cellular autophagy and beta amyloid clearance. Cellular autophagy is like the self-clean function on your cells. So it makes sure that all of the different parts of the cell, including the cell membrane and everything like that, and your DNA itself are working properly. And if they're damaged, it will either fix it or it will scrap that part and make a new one. And then beta amyloid is one, well, we usually traditionally we have associated that with increased or worsening Alzheimer's symptoms. Now we know that it's actually the protective mechanism from those insults that can cause or contribute to cognitive decline. So once you address the root cause or the one of whatever 36 holes that are a factor for you, then the beta amyloid can come off. So that is what this food plan is also designed to do, is to help with that. It also promotes detoxification and protects against muscle and bone loss that's also associated with cognitive decline. So this way of eating does a whole heck of a lot. And I'm really excited that the science has shown us all that, because, well, one, I'm a science nerd and I just love it. But two, it's really helpful to pair with the patient stories that come from eating this way. Very powerful stuff. So what does keto flex actually mean, right? So it's a combination of two words, keto and flex, or flexible. So ketosis, we just talked about, but the flexible part is kind of twofold. One, it means that meat is optional. So if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you can totally eat this way and get the same cognitive benefits as someone like me who does eat meat. The other, probably more important meaning of flexible is that the goal of eating this way, yes, to reverse and prevent cognitive decline, but what it's actually doing for you is creating metabolic flexibility, which means that you can use ketones or glucose as fuel, and your body can switch back and forth whenever it needs to or wants to. Most of the way America eats, we call it the standard American diet. Yes, that does spell sad. But the way most of America eats promotes reliance on glucose for fuel. And glucose just doesn't last very long. You also don't get as many energy molecules from breaking down glucose as you do from ketones. So that is something else to keep in mind. But this way of eating kind of reverses and combats that. So we are becoming more metabolically flexible. Awesome. Okay, so let's dive into what to eat. Before I dive in again, does anybody have any questions so far? I want to make sure that we are addressing questions as we go. I will also open the floor for questions at the end tonight, but wanted to go ahead and open that up. And while you guys are sharing any questions that you have, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. We are going to look at the food pyramid. How do I make this the full screen? Debbie, is it the full screen for you? It's not. Okay. Full screen? No. Maybe there. Maximize. Okay, good deal. All righty, let's see. Okay. Tamara said, I understood what you said, but please don't ask me to repeat it. No worries, that's my job. No worries at all. Okay, so let's dive in to the KetoFlex 12-3 food. So I'm gonna skip over this bottom part, this fasting, real quick. We're gonna talk about that at the end. But I'm gonna start on the non-starchy veggies and healthy fats section. This is eat as much as you like. This includes healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocados, coconuts, coconut milk, nuts, seeds, all of those things. Leafy green vegetables like kale, spinach, and all the different kinds of lettuces. Cabbage as well. Cruciferous vegetables also includes cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, mushrooms, sulfur-containing veggies like onions and garlic. I love both of those. This also contains like herbal teas, black teas, green teas, herbs and spices. So definitely make sure we've got lots of color from this section. Ultimately, the goal is to eat, depending on your height and weight, like 6 to 9 cups daily. And especially like if you have like a serving size of vegetables is usually half a cup. There we go. And of the big leafy green stuff is a cup. So ultimate goal, 6 to 9 cups of vegetables, and then adding all of the other delicious things on top of that, like the healthy fats and the teas and the herbs and spices. For these, organic, seasonal, and local is best. But if you can't get any of those, or they're too expensive in your area, then just eating them in general is better than not eating them. Okay. So what would be even better is if you had your own garden, which not everybody does. It is a goal of mine for this next year. So I will keep you guys updated. So that is the eat as much as you like category. Very delicious and lots of foods to choose from. Okay, so the next step up is the eating for your gut category. So this is where we have the prebiotics, the resistant starches, and the probiotics. So you've probably heard of probiotics, maybe prebiotics, don't know about resistant starches. So probiotics are foods that contain microbes. These are essential for gut health. We actually have like a whole civilization of microbes living in our gut. And one way to enhance that microbiome, that's the technical term for it, is by eating probiotic foods. So some of the best ones that I can think of are sauerkraut and kimchi. They do have an acquired taste, But I have personally found out that if you follow a recipe to make them yourself, then they actually are not quite as pungent smelling than if you get them from a jar or a can off of the shelf. So if you're new to probiotic foods, that is a way to do that. A lot of different vegetables naturally have different microbes on them. So like I made my own sauerkraut, and all you do is soak cabbage in water. I think there was one other thing I added, maybe a little bit of vinegar, something like that. Anyway, you can look, all I did was Google a recipe. So pretty easy, but then you let it ferment. And the fermentation process allows those bugs to really flourish. And it's that fermentation process that makes it a probiotic food. So enough about probiotics. Prebiotics are foods that feed for probiotics. They are the food of probiotics. So some of these are resistant starches, but some of them aren't considered resistant starches, and I'll go into that in just a second. But some of the top prebiotics are like jicama and leeks, also onions and garlic and that kind of stuff. So then we come to resistant starches. So like, what are these things, right? Resistant starches are, you can kind of think about them as complex carbs, but they're like more complex than complex carbs. They're complex squared. Yes, we'll go with that. So these are foods like sweet potatoes, rutabagas, parsnips, and green bananas. I've heard of green banana flour. I don't know how to use it yet. Once I learn, I'll let you guys know. But all of that, totally resistant starches. And what those do, they also act as food for your microbes, but most of those are food for the microbes in your large intestine, where prebiotics are usually food for probiotics in your small intestine. Here we go. Okay, so one thing to note is that if you have an unhealthy gut, you may not be able to tolerate these foods until you heal your gut. That is beyond the scope of today, but we definitely want to make sure that you have a healthy gut before you incorporate some of these foods. And then these foods help ensure a continued healthy gut environment. So, all right, then we have the animal protein and fruit group, and this is the choose wisely group. So this includes smash fish, which I don't know if everyone's heard of smash fish before, but that is an acronym for fatty fish. So it means salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. Smash. So those are the best fatty fish. They're low in mercury content, which is great because these are fishes, I almost said fishes. These are little fishies that you can eat pretty much on a daily, weekly basis. Whereas, things that are higher in mercury, like tuna and shark, we don't want to be eating as often. Okay. So also in this category are pastured eggs and chicken, grass-fed beef, and those options, it is best to get those, like the better quality meats, because their fat content and nutrient content is different. And conventionally raised beef, eggs, and chicken are usually more inflammatory than the pastured and grass-fed options. Okay. Also, again, reminder that this way of eating is vegetarian and vegan friendly. So you do not have to consume meat to follow this way of eating or other animal products, but either way works, really. Also in this category are non-tropical fruits. The best ones are lemons, limes, and small amounts of berries. Um, the thing to remember with this group is that meat and fruits are condiments. They're not the main attraction. So the like if you're looking at your plate, the major part of it volume wise, not necessarily weight wise, because all these foods weigh different things, right? But volume wise, when you look at your plate, it should be mostly vegetables. And that's why it is the second from the bottom category in this pyramid. Okay, so now we are going to the top, and this is the indulgences. So this includes sweeteners, and we do recommend, or I do recommend, natural sweeteners. So the best ones for staying in ketosis are stevia, monk fruit, and a little bit of honey. Also in this indulgences category is high cocoa chocolate or high cocoa content chocolate. That was a lot of C's, y'all. So we're looking at 70% cacao and above. Coffee is in this category. Red wine is in this category. Grass-fed full-fat A2 dairy, or honestly, grass-fed dairy is in this category. Starchy vegetables like potatoes, corn, and squash. These are mainly the winter squashes that are starchier are in this category, and legumes, so like peas and beans and that kind of thing. And I'll go into this a little bit more later, but this is to help you get into ketosis. A lot of times, as the longer that you eat this way, the less fat that you will need to maintain the ketosis. So you may be able to um, tolerate more of, say, like a starchy vegetable or a legume, and not necessarily more at one time, but maybe a little more often. Same goes for the resistant starches and that kind of thing. Okay, so do we have any questions about what to eat? Let's see. Marilyn, you say I said I planted kale, broccoli, and cabbage today, even though it was 100 degrees in Texas. Oh my goodness, that is hot, but way to go. Debbie, you had a question. Um, I can't hear you, my dear. Let me see if I can. You're not muted. Are you typing your question? Okay, cool. Well, let's wait for that. But yes, absolutely, Marilyn. That is so exciting. Um, I'm jealous that you were able to plant those today. So I'm so stoked for you. Let's see, Debbie, what your question was. Can greens as a supplement count as a serving? That's a really good question. And I definitely think, at least while you're beginning, absolutely. Because um, we want to slowly increase how many vegetables we're eating, because vegetables include um, fiber. That's the word I was looking for. So they include fiber, and if you increase your fiber too quickly, then it's going to totally make your gut unhappy, and we don't want that. So definitely at first, ideally, what you would do is that would just be an additional serving. So it would be like bonus. But yes, at first, for sure. Okay, great questions, guys. Great questions. Marilyn, okay. Can I repeat what I called the milk? Okay, so the milk was A2 dairy, and that is a type of dairy. So there are types of dairy cows that don't produce, I think it's the A1 type of enzyme. I'd have to double check. But it is easier on the system and not as inflammatory as regular dairy. And this is your first time growing them in carrots. Awesome. Well, let me know how that goes. And if you have any tips for me when I start, that would be awesome. Okay. Great, great questions, guys. And if you have any other questions that pop up or pop in your head, feel free to like drop them in the chat or comments. And I will definitely answer those as we go. Okay, so let's real quick cover what you should not be eating. And these foods are things that either increase your inflammation, directly damage the brain, or they contribute to other or some of the other 36 holes in the roof. Okay. So the first thing would be sugar and other simple carbs. So this is processed sugar. This is not natural sugar. This is processed stuff. So this includes cane sugar. This includes brown sugar. This includes all of those fake sweeteners. Include well, like the non they're called non-nutritive like sugar replacements. So this is like aspartame and Splenda and all the things that come in the packets at Cracker Barrel. So, but the simple carbs category that comes in like what it falls into that category are things like traditional bread, pasta, rice, cookies, cakes, candy, sodas, etc. There are replacements that fit in to the keto flex lifestyle, really. So these are not no-nos forever, but there are ways to make them more nutritional for your brain. There's just a little extra work that goes into it, but that's okay. So other things that are not great for the brain would be gluten, grains in general, conventional dairy, like an occasional cheese or organic or raw whole milk or plain yogurt is fine, but that again, that's in the indulgences category. Processed foods in general, not going to be good for the brain. If it's in a package with ingredients listed, it is processed. And then I talked a little bit earlier about high mercury fish like tuna, shark, and swordfish. I need to be careful with those words, make sure I pronounce them correctly. Then also high glycemic index fruits. So these I would definitely put in the indulgences or even past indulgences in the like every once in a blue moon category. So these like the super high glycemic fruits are things like pineapple. These, oh my goodness, as soon as you like smell them, they take you out of ketosis. They have so much sugar in them. But again, it totally spikes your blood sugar, which spikes your insulin, which spikes your inflammation, which harms your brain. Okay. So those are the things that you want to avoid. And let's then, okay, if y'all have any questions about that, drop them in the comments or the chat. But next, we're going to be talking about the very bottom part of the pyramid, and that is fasting. So this is the 12-3 part of Keto Flex 12-3. And fasting is when you can consume no food or drink other than water, plain coffee, or plain tea. And remember, coffee is in the indulgences category. And this is for when or not consuming the food or drink for an extended period of time. So what this does is it actually promotes ketosis. Yay! So we are going to eat ketosis ketosis promoting foods and then pair it with fasting that also helps promote ketosis. How awesome is that? So the goal will be to fast at least 12 hours of the day. That's where the 12 comes from. And this is the mark at which you start gaining those cognitive benefits. Now, you can push it farther, and depending upon your genetics, it may be in your best interest to push that farther. But that is another topic for another day. Um, so I personally push mine for about 16 hours. So I eat during an 8-hour window. But if you do a 12-hour fast, um, then where was I going with that? Okay. So if you do a 12-hour fast, then most of that you're asleep for. So it's not like you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs just thinking about food but not eating it. So it's not as hard as it sounds. So if you stop eating, like if you're finished eating dinner by 7:30 at night, then you would just wait until 7:30 in the morning to break your fast. Easy peasy. So you can personalize your fast based on the results of a cognoscopy, which is a term that Dr. Bredesen coined, and that is the all the testing that goes into determining what your 36 factors are, or which of the 36 factors are an issue for you. Again, we don't have time to go into that today, but part of that cognoscopy is determining whether you should be fasting for 12 hours or longer. So anyway, if you have specific questions about a cognoscopy, feel free to message or email me. Okay, and then the other number, the 3, is to ideally stop eating 3 hours before bed. So fasting for 12 hours, stop eating 3 hours before bed. And what that does is it keeps your blood sugar and insulin from spiking before bed. And so basically when you eat closer to bedtime, your body is focused on handling the blood sugar, the food, the insulin, instead of processing the stress and cleaning up after the day's activities. So then you're not able to finish that before you wake up, and you basically start the next day with a negative balance in your bank account body, which is not good. And then the blood sugar and insulin spikes also will increase cortisol, which is your stress hormone. And at the same time, that suppresses melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. So now you're stressed and you can't sleep. Not a good combination. So, eating close to bedtime inhibits good restorative sleep in general. So, the goal is to push that back, and you can do it like push it back like by 15 minutes a night or 30 minutes or whatever until you get to the 3-hour mark. So in general, this the whole fasting thing, again, not that hard. Stop 3 hours before bed. If you get 8 hours of sleep, you're at 11 hours. You just have to wait another hour from when you wake up to when you eat. That is it. Again, if you want to push it further, you absolutely can. But that is the secret sauce to fasting. So, let me know if you guys have any questions. Drop them in the chat or the comments. But I just want to sum things up real quick. We talked about what to eat today. Well, starting with the fasting, I'm going to start at the bottom of the pyramid. So starting with fasting, we're fasting for at least 12 hours. Then we're eating lots of healthy fats and non-starchy vegetables. Then we're adding some prebiotics, probiotics, and resistant starches after we ensure that our gut is healed. And then we're adding on some animal protein and fruits, and then having our indulgences. So at the same time, we are also avoiding those foods that are contributing to any one of those 36 factors that could be contributing to cognitive decline. And I don't think I said this earlier, so I'm going to say it now, but the processes that go into creating the perfect storm for the symptoms of cognitive decline to show up for you, they on average start 2 decades before you start having symptoms, or before a diagnosis, sorry. So A lot of people for Alzheimer's and cognitive decline get diagnosed in their 60s, 70s, or 80s. So we are looking at, at least in your 40s, these biochemical processes that makes these 36 holes are starting. So, and again, that number is an average. So, I'm 29 right now. So I I could be having some processes that are contributing towards cognitive decline. So I am also actively working to minimize the potential for 36 different holes. Okay, so we did talk about foods that not to eat, and then we talked about fasting. So the short term goal of eating this way is to get into ketosis and to heal insulin resistance and reverse cognitive decline. That is our short term goal. Our long term goal is to create metabolic flexibility. And again, that's the ability where you can burn either fat or glucose as fuel. And that helps us restore and then support healthy cognition in the long run. Okay, so not everyone is going to need to stay in this deep of a level of ketosis forever. Um, you should, as you go, not need to eat as much fat to maintain or be able to slip back easily into ketosis, especially as you continue the fasting part of things. The best way to measure this is with a ketone meter. You can find that on my website. I will drop, well, the link is in the guide. Everyone got the guide, right? If you did not get the guide, let me know and I will send you the guide. But the link is in the guide to the ketone meter. Now, I'm not seeing, oh, shrimp okay. Yes, that is in the da, 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 in the animal protein and fruit category. But yes, seafood, shellfish, absolutely okay. We just want to make sure that we're not eating tons and tons of things that contain high levels of toxins like mercury. So, great question, Marilyn. Great question, especially because I am a big shrimp fiend myself. So, okay, you guys do me one big favor and comment or put in the chat one big takeaway that you have from today. And then I'm going to go over the homework real quick. And then if you guys have any last minute questions, we can absolutely address those. So I'll give you a little bit to get that, your takeaway written down. And I'll let you know when I was first going through this, the biggest takeaway for me was that yogurt was actually in the indulgences category because I always thought of it as a probiotic food, which it is, but it is dairy based or usually dairy based. And a lot of them have a lot of sugar in them. So you have to be careful which ones you get. And nowadays we have a lot of options with like coconut and almond based yogurts, which is awesome. But yeah, that was my biggest takeaway when I was studying all of this. So let's see. All right, you guys continue to post what your biggest takeaway was. Oh, Tamara said, I need to find my link and order a ketone meter. I'm glad I don't have to guess. Absolutely. Functional medicine has a saying, we like to test, not guess. So having that ketone meter will definitely help there. So great takeaway. So let me go over the homework real quick. And again, doing the homework, one is just it's to help you through this learning process, and it'll get you in the drawing for our giveaway that I will be doing tomorrow evening. So the homework for tonight is to write down how you truly feel after you eat. So is it bloated, tired? Do you have brain fog? Do you feel satisfied? Do you even feel energized? So what I would like you to do, you can share that with us if you want, but either post in the Facebook group or email me that you did it. And then again, if you want to share what you wrote down for your homework, you are more than welcome to do that. So, okay, Marilyn, I've seen A2 milk at Brahms Ice Cream Shop. They use it in their ice cream. Awesome. But yes, the ice cream is definitely an indulgence. So now you know what it means. Awesome. Um, You've never heard of a ketone meter. So, yeah, so ketone meters are like glucose meters, except they measure ketones. So it's really cool, really awesome science there and technology. So, yeah, click the link in the guide and check that out and read a little bit more about it and let me know if you have questions. So, I think that this was great. Let's see. Oh, Debbie, I did not see this question. Can grass-fed meat be found at local grocery? Sometimes, yes. Like I know I can get, well, I get my organic grass-fed ground beef at Sam's. And I know there's a section, or there should be a section at both Publix and Kroger, I believe. Um, they are more expensive, but you're paying for the quality of the food that you're eating at that point. So let's see. And I'm sorry I did not see that question earlier, Debbie. Anyway, but that's a really good one. You can also, I'm looking into a company that you can order like a box from, and it includes a pretty good chunk of meat. So once I have fully vetted that, I will post that in the Facebook group. So if you guys are, again, are not in the Facebook group yet, let me know. And we can definitely fix that. But I will be posting about that. And as soon as I have vetted this company and make sure that they are like the real deal. But from what it looks like, they have grass fed beef, pastured chicken, and pastured pork as well, which is awesome. So super excited. Great question. So the answer is yes. You just have to look for it for the grass-fed beef. And the same goes for pastured chicken and eggs. So, okay, you guys, thank you for being here with me this evening. I had a lot of fun. I like talking nerdy science. So thanks for being here with me for that. And if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to comment in the Facebook group, email me, anything like that. And again, my email is, or yeah, my email should be at the end of the guide as well. So any comments or questions that you need, feel free to reach out. And oh, let's see, Marilyn, you said I think one of your ranch neighbors ships grass-fed beef. I'll see if you can find out for sure. Yes, please, absolutely. If you can share that information when you find it, that would be awesome. Debbie, I'm so glad that you have enjoyed the class so far. You are so welcome. So welcome. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Yes, at the same time, 8. Hopefully, I can figure out the technology a little better, but technology is not my strong point. So, thank you guys for being patient with me. But anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Remember to do your homework. And yeah, you'll join the Facebook group tomorrow. Yes, absolutely. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And yeah, y'all have a wonderful evening. Get some good sleep. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Okay? Awesome. Bye. Mwah.